Yes, it is an absolute peak of video game entertainment. So I finished Pragmata yesterday and oh my god, it's a beautiful masterpiece. Out of all people, I've never expected a new IP from Capcom, who really like to make collection editions of Mega Man and Ace Attorney for no reason. So I actually thought that Pragmata is going to be a PlayStation exclusive, so you know, I already got this puppy out of my drawer, I cleaned it, I got it ready for a new game, and then I found out that Pragmata is on Steam. Well, guess I don't need this anymore. Anyways, there's a lot to cover, so let's begin. Pragmata is a sci-fi action game about a space engineer named Hugh Williams, who, together with 3 more engineers, is sent on a mission to Lunar Research Station, who Earth lost contact with. After an unexpected moonquake, Hugh loses his crewmates and gets injured in a fall. Thankfully, a childlike android finds Hugh, patches up his suit, and both join together to reach the communication center to contact Earth, and this is where the game begins. Since Pragmata was made by Capcom, there is a lot of similarities between it and Resident Evil games. The first one being that both games are made on the same engine, the RE engine. But the game also inherited the path tracing feature that Resident Evil Requiem had, and it really tanks your FPS. Pragmata follows a linear story progression where you investigate each sector of the lunar space station on your way to the communication center. Each sector is unique to each other, like you would go from a futuristic laboratory to a corrupted copy of New York City block to a more peaceful botanical sector. But besides advancing in AI and robots, they also found a rare material called lumen, which is used for lunafilament. Lunafilament is essentially a material similar to a filament for 3D printers, except that Luna filament can pretty much print anything that you want, including the robots that I already mentioned. There was no robots. How unfortunate. The way you progress throughout the game is by solving very familiar puzzles, like finding 5 hidden locks to open a door, collecting special access cards, or arranging boxes to open the way. The first thing that comes to mind is this game must have a lot of backtracking, but that's not really the case. In some, like looking for keys, yes, but in other cases you would mostly go in a circle and come back to the area where there's another door that you have to unlock with the items that you found in the circle that you were going through, or it's just going to be a dead linear progression where you start from point A and you go all the way to point B where you finish the level. I guess the only backtracking that you're gonna have to do is to collect all the stuff that you haven't collected yet. These collectibles mainly include upgrade materials like lunafilament or collecting rams, which are holograms you might have seen Diana playing with. It might take a few brain cells to find them, considering that some require a skill that you haven't unlocked yet, or hidden behind a locked area which can be opened through a terminal that is in completely different area. Surprisingly, there's even a reference to Metal Gear Rising or Metal Gear Solid franchise in form of a VR training that you have to do to get some extra materials and cabin points. We could go even further. There is a Kojima reference as well. With the original skin that Diana has, you probably noticed that she is barefoot. Well, there is a reason for that, and it's better than the character is half naked because she breathes through the skin. A key point to mention is after returning back to the shelter for a quick heal up, all the enemies will reset and you have to fight them all over again. And you'll be struggling for the first hour of the game because it's not very simple to kill an enemy. Usually in video games, I see enemy, I shoot enemy, enemy dies. Well, in Pragmata there are steps to killing an enemy. It's not that easy. In every combat, before you can even scrape the surface of the enemy, you first have to hack its armor, which requires you to route Diana all the way to the green node on the hacking matrix, after which the enemy will expose its core. Some people might say, pretty easy, almost like a quick time event. Well, not only there is a depth to the hacking system in this game, but also this is the average quick time event that you're gonna be doing. For example, the basic mechanic is you have to pass through these blue nodes on your way to the green node. The more you route through, the longer enemy stays exposed. And the bigger the enemy, the bigger the grid, so it takes longer to hack them. But also remember that that same robot is still attacking you, so besides having to lock in on the enemy and routing through the matrix, you also have to avoid getting stomped to pieces. But the real fun begins when you start unlocking extra nodes modes like multi-hacking. You can either select them before extracting into the sector or find them as an enemy drop around the area. Multi-hacking can be used with any nodes in the game because it just basically spreads the effect to every single enemy around. But the most broken combo that I can think of is multi-hacking and confusion. Confusion will turn the enemies against each other, and thanks to multi-hacking you can spread confusion to every robot in the radius, turning a 1v6 into a deathmatch. Apart from that, a lot of weapons in the game are built to work together with the hacking mechanics, like sticky bombs that shrink the matrix row by row, or static net that freezes the enemies in one place, letting you hack in peace. Most of the upgrades and weapons in the game are divided into 4 different categories, so you can decide what to prioritize: damage, health, defense, or offense. Then you will discover a hacking mode that converts physical damage into hacking damage, essentially doubling the damage that you're dealing to an enemy. Then you will find out that you only have 2 nodes per session, so you will have to figure out how to route around the nodes to not waste them on one robot that you're fighting. And then you find out it's 3 AM. and you have to wake up tomorrow. I'm just amazed how many steps there are to the hacking system. I mean, it sounds pretty simple on the surface. Just route it through and get to the green node, but there's like so many tactics, so many strategies that you can apply to that. And besides that, you also have guns that you can combine with that. I mean, if you ask me if this gets boring, it really doesn't. There's like millions of different ways that you can attack an enemy, hack an enemy, or, you know, apply different buffs and nodes. It's just incredible. Like, I never got boring of doing it. It's just so much fun. My favorite areas to complete are red zones that really challenge your hacking and multitasking skills by throwing 10 robots your way, all of which require completely different strategies. It's an absolute spark fest, especially in a room that physically cannot fit that many entities, but after those red zones you're prepared for basically anything. Now, I played the entire game on a controller because if it's not an exclusive and my PlayStation is just gonna be laying there, at least I get to use the controller. But it gets you thinking. It's pretty simple to hack on the controller. You just press these buttons and route yourself through the matrix. But what is it like on mouse and keyboard? Well, in order to hack on PC, you have to aim at the enemy, hold Alt on your keyboard, and hover the mouse over the route you decided to take. It's much less intuitive than simply using controller buttons for that, but it's a pretty ingenious solution. I mentioned this because there was a small debate on Reddit that a person was asking which one is easier, controller or mouse and keyboard. I personally think that controller is a little bit more intuitive. It's slightly easier because all you do is basically press these buttons, while on keyboard you have to like aim at the enemy, press Alt, then hover over the grid, and it's a hassle. Alright, it's a hassle. Though I will say that aiming is easier on PC, but that's basically because I'm a PC gamer. Also, there is aim assist in this game, but it only works with the hacking. So when you're actually shooting at the boss or at the enemy, there is no aim assist. So I was struggling personally. Like, I don't usually play on shooters on controllers, so I was struggling a little bit. That's actually good though there's no aim assist, because if there was, it would be very hard to like switch to an next enemy to hack them, because the aim would be locked at the enemy that you have already hacked. So yeah, once you're satisfied with the progress that you made on the map, you might want to come back to the shelter to regroup, heal, and get more heals, and of course upgrade your equipment. Level up is pretty straightforward. You have 3 options to dedicate your points to, all of which depend on your playstyle. I personally prefer damage over health, because I think that if you kill the enemy fast enough, you're not gonna lose as much health, so I always prioritize my main weapon. By the way, your main weapon, in our case it's called a grip gun, it has infinite ammo, so once you are out, it's gonna take a few seconds to recharge it. The rest of the guns though don't have infinite ammo. As soon as you run out of ammo, they're just gonna despawn. To avoid that, you can upgrade guns to get more ammo or damage. You also have to remember that you don't own any of them at first and have to buy a blueprint to 3D print them for the future. Shelter also has a cabin bot that gives you an option to spend cabin points on bingo cards. This is where you unlock extra stuff and costumes, and also the early mentioned VR training that basically challenges every mechanic and aspect you learn. The VR training varies from difficult to easy, but it really depends on how skillful you are with all the mechanics. For example, I actually found a clip. Let me roll back a little bit. So this is a challenge where you have to hack 4 terminals in 23 seconds, but there's another challenge where you have to hack them in 15 seconds. And as you may see, it's pretty difficult to actually do that. Like, you have to route all of these nodes together to actually successfully do it. There was one that I did in 15 seconds and 12 milliseconds. I literally missed the target by 12 milliseconds. Let's see if it's this one. Is it this one? Yes, 15 seconds and 14 milliseconds, and I had to do it in less than 15. That fucked me up a few times. But overall, all of them are pretty fun, and I really recommend you to do them, not only like to train your hacking and your shooting, but also for laughs and giggles, and also broken keyboards. But behind the hacking and the evil AI robots walking around, there is a very sweet father-daughter relationship that happens between Diana and Hugh. It was super heartwarming following the chemistry that was happening between the two. Diana is an AI android that is super curious about everything, especially about Earth, and from the very beginning of the game was very excited to meet Hugh. While Hugh was a little bit hesitant at first, but soon enough realizes that even though Diana is technically a robot, she's also a child, excited about discovering new things even at the cost of her life. What I really liked is Capcom avoided the traditional depressed guy kind of scenario where the main character finds himself in a situation with a lost child and wants nothing to do with him or her, but eventually shows his soft side. Hugh, though a little bit skeptical, is still super happy to see Diana around and even acts overprotective as if Diana is his daughter. He would tell Diana about a lot of things like chats with his foster family over dinner and what he was like as a kid. Apart from that, the realms you find are small pieces of memorabilia from Earth, which you can complete by finding the lost pieces around the map. And Diana would be more than happy to interact and explore them. In the shelter, you also have an option to talk to her and share some more experiences and interesting things about Earth. Once you get crayons for Diana, she would also draw cute pictures of Hugh, which are also displayed in the main computer panel. After a while, you will also unlock the infamous hide and seek mode where you could play hide and seek with Diana. She would also make voice callouts so you could find her faster, completely ignoring the rules of the normal hide and seek game where you actually have to hide. You can even let the timer finish and Diana would be super excited about the fact that she won her first hide and seek game. Occasionally they will talk about stuff while you're playing, which is always so adorable to listen to. One thing I will mention is Hugh's constant "that's the last one." It was really getting on my nerves because right as he says that, more enemies spawn. My ass, that shit is not over. I guess that was taken from Resident Evil as well.
That was easy.
Now, I thought I would talk about the performance of the game in case you want to play it and you have a PC. I have a pretty good computer, you can see the specifications right here, but I'm gonna tell you, Pragmata with path tracing is beefy. At first it was good, I was getting around 100 FPS, but once I got to the New York section, the FPS got tanked to 60 and stayed like this for pretty much the entire time. Keep in mind I had DLSS and frame generation on, so the PC was sweating bullets. I finished Resident Evil Requiem with path tracing on, but didn't have any issues, except maybe this part, but I'm not sure. And turning off path tracing was like removing kryptonite from Superman's chest. FPS suddenly rose to 260. I even got a little brave, you know, nowadays in 2026, and even turned off both DLSS and frame gen, which got me a stable 120 frames on all high settings until the very end of the game. There was only one area where I had a problem, where there would be a lot of frame drops, but that's literally the only area. And that got me thinking, how truly good is the optimization in this game? So meet the Unk. So this is a 6-year-old laptop that I use mainly for editing. This computer has a respectable RTX 3070, 16GB of DDR4 RAM, and i7 11th gen. It's still pretty good for most of the games, like no disrespect to this laptop, this aluminum monstrosity by the way. But yeah, how did Pragmata work on it? Actually, not as bad as I thought. I tried it in a few different scenarios, including 1440p test with DLSS and AMD frame gen on, since the laptop had 1440p screen, and it was getting respectable 60 to 80 frames with ray tracing on, that is. So I would say it's pretty much playable, though I don't promise you a quiet laptop. So what's my final verdict? 9 out of 10. I really like this game, it's very good. It has a very unique hacking system, or just a game mechanic in general, that I personally never seen anywhere else. The story is pretty good. The ending, I'm gonna let you figure that out. I'm not gonna say if it was good. The ending was pretty good. And it's generally a very good game. I highly recommend you play it if you have $60. And to be honest, until December or until October and December, there isn't much that you will be able to play, unless you like racing games and also Lego Batman. I don't know about the 007 game, but hopefully it's gonna be pretty good. I'm gonna review it as well. So yeah, let me know what you think about Pragmata. Maybe you can recommend me a game to play, and next week I'll play something else.
Oh my God, bro. PlayStation just fumbled the biggest bag ever. They don't want the money at this point. They don't want the money. I was happy, ready to buy that shit on PlayStation for $70. Nah, they put it on Steam. Man, fuck PlayStation. Damn.